I can really understand why not Jay-Z.
Love Jay-Z.
Hova brushes the dirt off his shoulder. Welcome back to another episode of Careful Boys, where we have Nick Dunn, expert on teenage psychology.
That's not true.
That's true.
That's not true.
He's being humble.
That's crazy. That's crazy you labeled me with that.
Specializes in underage.
Silent Michael with us. Yeah.
He's also an expert on child psychology.
He's a big fan of his skills.
Yeah, why would they bring two of us? It's you, sir. They would bring two of the same experts.
What are some like complaints that, Gen Z has about life that you actually go, that makes perfect sense?
The housing stuff kind of makes sense.
The housing stuff makes a lot of sense.
Although I've seen multiple breakdowns where they take like all the inflation plus salary plus cost of living plus what it takes to get a loan and whatever. And it does matter like when you take the picture, when you zoom in and out. Because there was a time, I think late 70s, early 80s where interest rates were really high. So that was hard to buy a home.
None of it makes perfect sense to me, though.
Yeah, same.
It makes 50% sense. Okay. So, like, the housing one, it's if you took, like, let's say in the 70s, what the average income in the average home, like that ratio to now, it's like how much people make has only gone up a little bit, but then the homes are like 3-4x. It's crazy, right? I'm like, that part of it is true. Yeah. But then the bitching and moaning and complaining, I'm like, you're just being a little fucking bitch. Because real people will still find a way to overcome that, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, that's the part that I'm like, at the end of the day, if you want to win, you have to change your mindset. But then I also hear this part. So this part, it's like, okay, that's true. I identify the problem, but your mindset about it and your approach to it.
So it kind of looks like, it looks like with those things being disproportionate, that like you have to technically work harder.
Or move somewhere that's not as much to that.
I think the person bitching is some Fitspo in San Diego looking at a $5 million home that some dude bought.
Yeah.
But people who grew up in Kansas, they're still buying a home.
I see.
It's because of this internet culture. It's all that shit makes them. So they're all bitching about,
all in major cities.
Or they won't sacrifice not living on San Diego on the beach.
Yes, and they're not willing to do what their parents did. Right. So that San Diego home, they're like, look at this fucking huge gap. Well, your mom was from Kansas that moved. So now it's your time to move to the next San Diego, but you're not willing to do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, the housing was the first one.
Yeah, they're saying like a lot of people that wanted the low rent in New York were actually upper middle class people that felt poor because they couldn't afford the rich shit and the stuff that they're like used to. So they're complaining that their rent's like 10 grand a month,
right?
Because it's still expensive for upper middle class people.
But that's the lifestyle they want.
But they're not fighting for the actual poor. It's just like rich Gen Z that don't feel as rich as their peers.
Yeah, they can't be on the 10th floor. They got to be on the 20th floor.
So they're poor rich people. Blaming the fucking billionaires.
I feel like one thing that I kind of can understand is when Gen Z people complain that dating is harder because you see that like you're exposed to like every option possible. Yeah. Not like when we were like younger, it's like everyone in your class was everyone that you could talk to.
The one data that like compares those, I might fuck up the number, but like 1970s, like 40 or 50% of people age 30 were married with a home. Pretty good. Damn. And now it's like 12. Age 30, married with a home.
I think
that number is pretty alarming. Yeah. Like something's wrong with both of those. The dating
division of male and female is pretty hardcore now.
Yeah.
Like, especially because I work with a ton of Gen Z. And we were making this observation of like, there are people that are in relationships and like still normal, but there's also the contrast to that where they're severely separated. Where like there's, like the whole red pill shit and like super feminism, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the Careful Boys, right?
Yeah.
So we can blame feminism?
The thing is, I think, have you seen that chart where like guys are way more conservative and women are way more... So back then it used to be more like, no, like you're a minority, you're probably going to be left. And if you're a white Christian, you're probably going to be right. Yeah. Right? But then they were still like in one group together. Now it's more like super separated and you kind of see it. Like, you kind of see, like, if guys don't fall into the whole leftist stuff, they have to, like, they don't get no pussy. Yeah, or, like, but the girls are heavily that way. But I'm in a blue state, so I don't know, But I do agree with them saying that dating is harder because the shit, when we had the ATI guys on, and they're talking about LA dating, and how everything's all about send me $300 first. Or like, I was like, what the fuck? I never ran into that.
That's a crazy phenomenon.
I don't know what that would. Nah.
No, right? Like girls be like, oh, you better be taking, where are we going? Oh, I'm not going to go with her.
No coffee date.
I wasn't dating hood ass girls either, though. I think that's more like hip hop culture to me.
Or like clout chasing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's not really like.
That might be city based, like the housing, right? If you meet like a nice girl in Kansas City, you know, she might not expect a $300 dinner on the first night. But if you're dating some wannabe model in LA and you just say like, hey, yeah, you want to go on like a hike? She'll probably look like you like a fucking psycho.
So that's what I think. Where like I think some of the Gen Z problems can also be solved if they had them more like, you know, like I want to be an actor. I moved to Hollywood. Like whatever lifestyle or goal that you're trying to get after, you have to infiltrate it. So if you want to date Kansas City style, like find like some like country girl or whatever, you can't go, where are my country girls at? In LA, you're fucked. You got to move to Kansas or whatever, you know what I mean? Or try to be an actor and you fucking live in Kansas. Like, where are the movies at? Definitely not there, dude.
I can't get any acting jobs.
Fly me out for an audition.
Yeah, you got to infiltrate. What do you want to do?
I do think there's obviously a solution to every problem. Like even in our generation, there were problems that you had to have solutions for. But like, I think there's generational specific issues that makes it harder or completely different from our issues.
What's some other stuff that you've heard like your employees complain about?
A big one is the dating one, but I think another one is how scary it is for them with all of the degrees being irrelevant, like AI, like there's a lot of, I think, I can really understand why not Jay-Z.
Love Jay-Z.
Hova!
He brushes the dirt off his shoulder.
Why
You're just
Gen
doing that
Z?
so you don't get sued like everybody else.
I could understand why they have a defeatist mentality.
Yeah.
Because,
Like the
like-
odds are stacked against them a little bit.
Even if it was a lie for us, at least for us, we were told you get a degree, you get a good job, fine. We probably were in a sillier situation because we graduated right when the recession hit and there was actually no jobs. Whereas they have jobs, but then they're just giving up because all they see is these dead-end opportunities, right? So they had our generation, they had Gen X, they had the boomers to look at and say, none of those lifestyles turned out well. Fuck. So why try, right? Whereas at least for us, there was a facade of like, hey, you can make it, you can buy a house, you can do all this stuff.
Visualized it, yeah.
Yeah, and then even if it was a lie, we believed
We
in
didn't
it,
know it was a lie.
which it made it feel safe. And I think for them, they're like starting life fucked.
They're starting life knowing it's a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually even worse. I'd rather be delusional and then later as an adult, as a confident, because they're technically still kids, right? So like when you're a kid, you don't really control the world.
What's your fuel if you don't see the big picture?
Yeah, you won't pivot and find a way.
Yeah.
Two random data points that popped in my head were alcohol consumption going way down. And
Which is
I don't think that's Gen Z super specific, but it's like this culture, like this timeline specific, and obviously Gen Z is now the new adults, so they have to play a role. And then Bible sales going up over the last 2 or 3 years.
That's a big one.
Those are two data points that pop in my head that probably have a lot to do with
A
Gen
lot of
Z.
people are returning to religion.
Yeah, from the chaos of, because I remember growing up in high school, it was like not cool if you were like religious. Like everyone thought you were stupid and like dude, science.
Even in Christian school, it wasn't cool.
Nah, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, and well, I know people like that too, because like a lot of homies went to Catholic school, then they got out and went to college. They're like, dude, that was so dumb. Why did I do that with my parents? And then now they're like, I do believe
that's them looking for stability.
Yeah.
Because like imagine you're 17, 18, 19, right? And then you don't even know, and then like you're just walking into this world, and it's like the adults don't even have everything under control. No one has anything under. At least for us, like I was saying, like we grew up and it's like it seemed like adults had everything under control, and they knew what they were doing. So
think
it
that's just
gave
'cause
me
of
the
the-
security that like, okay, well they got it handled.
I completely believe that.
the extremes have gone, right? Whether you're talking finance or school debt, right? Like even the gap's grown bigger from even that generation to ours. But I wonder if that just has to purely do with the internet. Right, because more data's out there, right?
I think it's information overload.
No information, so you just know whether it's real info or not, right? Again, you're seeing everyone in San Diego's $1 million home, but I live in Michigan or whatever. But you're still, there's just so the information, so you know you can't be delusional.
So it's like ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
I feel like the analogy would be like before you don't have all the internet, right? So people go like, let's say they go to jiu-jitsu school. they got to get their black belt before they figure out if they like it or not. So they just go through the whole thing. But now you have internet and you have like blue belts complaining, purple belts has an injury, brown belts do whatever, and they see all of that. And so now they already make up a decision of what's gonna happen before they even try. And I think that's the part that sucks. Like you gotta try first.
Analysis paralysis kind of stuff.
You have to go through it no matter what it looks like.
Well, I do see them like. What the cool thing is, the ones that do try, they have so much access to resources and like they're crushing it, dude. Yeah. You got like so many 20-year-old multi-millionaires, and you're just like, bro, like we had to reinvent the wheel. We didn't really have mentors. Like, we just had to trailblaze, and just through stubborn fucking trying, we got through with it. So I think it's difficult when you're used to doing it the stupid way, and then you see someone who has resources and they give up hella early, you're like, but I think it's hard to relate because we don't even have the same pathways to compare it to. So like, we didn't have an option of following a pathway with someone giving a tutorial, or you buy someone's class who's an expert in skateboarding and you could be a pro skater like that. We didn't have that. We just had to invent skateboarding. That was like, Gen X and millennial. So I'm like,
what do you guys? You guys are millennials, right? You're top.
We're
end,
millennial.
You're top end millennial because I think I'm dead middle millennial, and you're probably bottom end millennial.
Yeah, but I think that it's hard to compare the two generations because they have a whole different set of problems that we see are advantages, but they were born into it. So it's like saying like grandpa's never going to understand that they never had internet, so they can operate in a world without phones and internet, right? They could remember calendars and do shit like that. So they look at millennials and go, you guys are weak because we can't memorize dates and calendars.
Basic directions.
Yeah, or directions. Yeah. We can't memorize a map, but they have all those compass Morse code skills, right? Yeah. They could tie ropes and shit. But I think even though millennial and Gen Z close, we have obsolete things that don't matter in their generation.
No, our generation's crazy when you think about it. Yeah. Like I had VHS,
right?
And like,
what's crazy about VHS?
Well, now you go show a Gen Z VHS.
They don't even.
Their brains are gonna be blown.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Remember that? We went from VHS. Kid, he didn't know what a fucking pager was. Oh. We had to explain what a pager was.
We went from car phones. My dad had a Mercedes in 1985 with a car phone.
He was a baller.
Baller.
Yeah.
Right? The other data that pops in my head, now this might not be as accurate, so don't quote me on it. I'm pretty sure either average or median Gen Z makes more money than millennials.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard that.
Yeah. You know what though? I have to give it up though. They're more strategic in the way they choose jobs.
Yeah.
I feel like millennials were like, hey man, I just want experience. Just let me in the door. I'll do anything, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to live or whatever.
Yeah, but like also we had a more mentality of there's not enough jobs. We need to fight for it. Whereas they live in a generation where it's like, oh, I could get a fucking job all day.
Yeah.
Now they get to choose who they work for. So people have this idea of like, oh, Gen Z's fucking lazy. But it's like when there's an abundance of workers, it's like buyer's market, seller's market, really.
Yeah.
So they can ask for more. So I'm like, fuck, well, that sucks. But hey, kudos to them. They're playing the game better.
Yeah. No, what I meant is like we lived pre-internet. Yeah. And then now we've lived full internet.
Yeah.
Well, they've only lived internet.
Yeah.
And then our parents, got the butt end, but like.
That's hugely different.
By AI though.
Yeah, true. We went VHS, DVD to now streaming. Gen Z barely knows. Probably doesn't even know DVD. They probably just know streaming.
I was pirating the whole time too.
Yeah, we know, dude. Napster. They don't know. They don't know the grind.
They don't know.
Yeah, they don't know the grind.
The grind.
They don't know the passing around a floppy disk to jack off to a picture.
Yeah,
that's true.
Bring it back.
You know
digitalized, digi-ass picture too.
Floppy disk.
I think my buddy gave me like 5 Shanghai Lee photos on a floppy disk.
Made them
5
work,
JPEGs.
huh? You put those things to work.
5 JPEGs.